Okay, so every week somebody asks me some version of the same question. Hey KT, what's the best AI tool for my business? Or what should I use to automate this? Or my personal favorite, what AI agent should I buy? And most of the time, my answer is pump your brakes, because that's not the first question you need to answer. If you don't understand the work, buying a better AI tool can just give you a faster way to automate confusion. And that's the part people keep skipping. They pick the technology first, then they walk around the business looking for somewhere to stick it. That's backward. The AI tool is not the strategy. The workflow is the strategy. So today, I'm going to show you how to stop starting with the tool, what needs to be in place first, and where you should actually begin. Let's get into it. But before we do that, allow me to welcome you to the Neural Dojo podcast. This is a space where humans and AI meet to think out loud. I'm Kyrie, aka KT, the AI sensei. Today's a solo session, no full binary banter from my AI co-hosts today. Just you, me, and a few uncomfortable truths about that digital junk drawer of AI tools you've been collecting. Yup, I see you. And I say this with love. I've been you. Okay, so here's how a lot of AI implementation happens. Somebody sees a demo, the tool writes the email, builds the presentation, updates the spreadsheet, answers the customer, and apparently fixes the whole company before lunch. Everybody gets excited, they sign up, they buy licenses, they tell the team, we're using AI now. Then somebody finally asks, what are we actually using this for? Now they're trying to force real work into whatever that tool happens to do well. Nobody clearly defined the result or decided who owns it. Nobody agreed on what information the system should trust or what happens when the information is missing or wrong. Then the output creates more cleanup than value, and the tool gets blamed. Now, don't get it twisted. Sometimes the tool is the problem. Let's be clear on that. But if the process was unclear before AI entered the room, AI didn't create the mess, it exposed it. A weak workflow can hide for a long time when people are carrying it. Somebody remembers the exception or knows which spreadsheet is actually current. That same somebody catches the weird customer request or fixes the mistake before it goes public. The process looks stable because a person is quietly holding it together. Then the company automates it and all of that undocumented judgment disappears. That's when people say the AI failed. Well, I mean, maybe. Or maybe the business never admitted how much of the workflow lived inside one person's head. And that's not a software problem, that's an operational problem. A powerful model inside a confused process is still inside a confused process. It may produce work faster, it may make the output look cleaner, or even make the failure harder to notice. Because speed can create the illusion of progress. More drafts, more summaries and reports, more content and activity. But if nobody defined what good looks like, who approves it, or what decision the work is supposed to support, you're not scaling value, you're scaling output, and those are not the same thing. If you're listening to this and realizing you've got a bunch of AI tools, but no clear strategy around how the actual work should move, this is exactly the kind of problem I help unpack. I created a paid workflow first strategy intensive where I look at what you're trying to accomplish, dig into what's actually breaking, and give you a clear strategy for what needs to happen next. You can find the booking link in the description, and it should be popping up on the screen right now. Now, to keep this focused and practical, I'm going to give you the 6 things that need to be visible before you make a serious AI or automation decision. Think of these as a lens, not a complete implementation map. First up, the outcome. What useful result is this work supposed to create? If the goal is just use AI, the project is already drifting. The technology should serve the outcome. The outcome should not exist to justify the technology. Second is ownership, as in who remains responsible when a result is late, wrong, incomplete, or harmful. AI can perform work, it can prepare a decision or recommend an action, but it can't own the consequences. When ownership is vague, automation makes the accountability gap bigger. The third thing, pretty obvious when you hear it, it's information. What does the workflow need to know, and which source is actually trusted? If 5 people are using 5 different versions of the truth, AI isn't going to solve that argument for you. It may just make all 5 versions sound more confident. Fourth's going to be decisions. Where is the work predictable and where does it depend on judgment? Not every step needs an AI agent. Sometimes a person needs help preparing the decision. Sometimes the basic automation is enough. And sometimes the decision should stay human. That last point happens more than most want to admit. But the goal here isn't maximum AI. The goal is the right responsibility in the right place. Fifth and likely the most important, guardrails. Where should the system stop, ask, or hand the work back to a person? Reading information is one level of access. Changing a record is another. Sending, publishing, purchasing, approving, or deleting something is a much bigger decision. A useful workflow doesn't just tell the AI what it can do. It makes the limits visible. And sixth is measurement. In other words, how will you know the workflow is actually better? Not whether the demo looked impressive, not whether the AI produced something in 30 seconds. It should be the answers to questions like, did the complete process improve? Did quality improve? Did review get easier or rework go down? Did the customer, employee, or business get a better result? If you don't know what you're measuring, almost any AI project can look successful for a week. Those 6 areas are not the whole implementation. They're the warning lights. If you can't see the outcome, owner, information, decisions, guardrails, and measurement, you're probably not ready to choose the tool yet. Take something relatively simple, like turning a podcast into social content. A tool first question is, which AI clip tool should I buy? A workflow first question is, what content needs to come out of this episode? What makes it accurate and useful? And who decides it's ready to publish? Same goal, very different starting point. One starts with a product, the other starts with responsibility and results. That difference shows up everywhere in things like lead follow-up, customer service, reporting, hiring, research, content, internal operations. If you start with the tool, you inherit the tool's assumptions. If you start with the workflow, you get to decide what the system should actually do. All right, dojo drill time. Let's keep this simple and practical. Here are 3 easy places to start so you can get a feel for how this works without overthinking it. Drill number 1, name the result. Choose one repeated task and finish this sentence. When this work is complete, the useful result should be. If you can't finish that sentence clearly, don't automate it yet. Drill number 2, name the owner. You should be asking, who is responsible when the output is wrong? Not who used the tool, not who pressed the button, who owns the result. If nobody has a clear answer, that's the first problem to solve. Drill number 3, find the risk point. Identify one moment where a person should review, approve, or take over. Just one. Where could a mistake affect money, a customer, an employee, access, reputation, or trust? That's where your first guardrail probably belongs. And here's a little bonus question for you. If the tool disappeared tomorrow, would you still understand how the work is supposed to move? If the answer is no, the tool may own more of your process than you do. The goal is not to squeeze AI into every step. The goal is to build a better way of getting the work done. Sometimes AI should write, sometimes it should analyze, sometimes it should summarize, classify, or route information. Sometimes the right answer is a basic automation, and sometimes the right answer is a not so basic person. But you can't make that decision by starting with the tool. Start with the problem. Understand the result. Make ownership visible. Know what information the work depends on. Silo predictable steps from real decisions. Know where the system needs to stop. And decide what better actually means. Then choose the technology. Because the AI tool is not the strategy. The workflow is the strategy. So let me ask you, what's one repeated task in your life or business that you probably need to understand before you automate it? Put it in the comments. And send this episode to that person with 17 AI subscriptions and no documented process. You know who they are, but they might not. Oh, and if it's you and you need help, click that link and let's get to work. And with that, we'll call it. Thanks for rocking with me in the dojo. Hit all the buttons and bells to show you like this content. Until next time, stay curious, stay balanced, and keep training your mind. Peace.
Grounds the abstract, building systems for the work we do, practical and precise, keeping the framework true. Neural Dojo, where the human and machine collide, binary banter, with the wisdom as our guide. KT, Bella, Jules, Jim. Stay balanced is that the algorithm never picks. We gone.